my grandma and grandpa, Mary and Charlie Faust, for my English class. My first question is, when and where were you born?
I was born in 1935, March. A good month, because that's your birthday month too.
Well, of course.
And I was born 1935 in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Okay.
And Grandpa, where and when were you born?
I was born in 1933, and I was born on a farm on 124, where I grew up for the first 6 or 7 years.
Okay. My next question is, what was your childhood like?
Well, I was raised in the city. And we played with the neighbors. We had a close neighborhood because everybody knew everybody on the street, and we played with a girl that was my brother's age, between my brother and I, and we played games and we made up plays, and then I started at school, didn't ride a bus, I walked 4 times a day for 6 blocks, so about 2 miles. I walked to school, and I walked home at noon, and then I walked back to school, and then I walked home at night. So it was about 2 miles a day I walked. Grandpa, do you want to tell about your childhood?
Well, I was born on a farm, and I don't remember much except I was sick my first 2 years of life. I was sick with ear trouble, and I finally got over that. And then I don't remember anything till I went to school, and I remember that I had a bad accident on the first day of school, couldn't go to school. So I went into the 1st and 2nd grade at the same time. I was in there 2 years, first and 2nd grade.
Next question is, what was one of the things that made you really happy when you were a child?
I guess Christmas did. I remember at Christmas, we didn't have a tree until Christmas Day. After my brother and I went to bed on Christmas Eve, my mother, because my dad worked a lot, long hours, my mother put up the tree, put the lights on, all the decorations, put the presents under the tree. So when my brother and I got up on Christmas morning, that was the first time we saw the Christmas tree. And that was always exciting, and I always enjoyed that. So that was one of my good times.
How about you, Grandpa? What was something that made you very happy when you were a child?
When I was happy.
What made you happy? What made you happy?
One thing that made me happy was I remember one of the special gifts that I got for Christmas. I don't know how old I was. I was probably 7 or 8. But I got a tractor that tracks on it. The rubber tracks on it. And it was could go around the room and go up on a little incline and then back down. And I played with that until the rubber broke, and then I couldn't play with it anymore. And I tried to fix it, and Dad didn't have time to
What
fix
makes
it.
you happy now?
Well, makes me happy when I am with my family.
Well, that's
It's
sweet.
fun, yes, you're one of my family. And I enjoy being with them and hearing what they're doing, their activities, and sometimes sharing their activities if they have a game or a play or whatever, going to their activities. And I enjoy that a lot. I really, that makes me happy.
What about you, Grandpa? What makes you happy now?
Well, let's see, the thing that makes me happy now would be with my family, but I also enjoy things here at the home where we live now, Westminster Village near Muncie.
How did you guys meet?
Well, we both attended Ball State University. Well, yeah, it was Ball State University then. And I had a roommate, and Grandpa had a friend who were dating, and they thought it would be nice if Grandpa and I met. And so we had a blind date. We didn't know each other, but we each knew one of either the man or the woman. And so we met and started dating at Ball State, and went together for a while, and then decided we wouldn't go together, and then we got back together. You want to add anything to that?
No, that pretty well covers it.
And you guys had 3 kids?
Yes, we have 3 wonderful children.
Are you sure about that? I mean, my
I
dad's
think
in that.
I think so, yes. And 8 wonderful, wonderful grandchildren, and you're included in that.
Ooh, that's great.
And 1 great grandchild.
Raylan.
We enjoy being with all of them.
Yes.
Now we're happy with we get Mandy makes number 9 if we include her, and she is married now to Tony, and Tyler is married now to what's her name? Ashley.
And they have a little 2-year-old.
Yes. It'll be 2 this month, actually.
Yes, I know. Wow, doesn't seem possible.
I know. So what did you guys do before you retired?
Well, before I retired, I was a librarian, and I worked at the public library in Anderson for a while, in reference, and then I worked at Ball State at Bracken.
That's where my dad works.
Yes, in fact, we had offices right next to each other for a while. All around the edge of a really big room, all filled with desks of people who worked in that section. And I worked there for 25 years before I retired. Grandpa, you want to tell them what you did before
Well,
you retired?
Well, I worked at Elwood Community Schools. I taught electronics over there and some industrial arts, and I taught night school, and I taught other places at the same time.
Did any worldly events like war or major changes affect you or your family?
Well, I certainly remember where I was at certain certain times in the history of the United States. I remember where I was when President Kennedy was shot. Your father was in a stroller, and I was shopping in Fort Wayne with Grandpa's sister, and we happened to hear the clerks talking, and they said that President Kennedy had been shot. And so, of course, we wanted to know more information about that, and then they said, well, and he died. And I certainly remember where I was when that happened. I was too little to remember Pearl Harbor.
You know, the anniversary of that is today.
Yes, today is the anniversary of it, and I know about it, but I don't remember, where I was when it happened because I was too young.
Yes.
But the war affected our family, and I know we had rationing, coupons, buy bond, all of those things.
If you could go back and change anything in your life, would you?
The only thing that I might change, that I would change, was the times during last year when I was sick and in the hospital or in the health center. But other than that, I wouldn't change much about my life. I've had a very good life, a blessed life, and I'm happy with the way things went, except for the illnesses.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, what would you change about your life?
My change,
What would you change about your life? What would you change?
the things that I would,
Is there anything you would change about your life?
well, I would have the time that my school burned down because Sam, my nephew Sam, was standing at the door, at the back door of the school, and he was getting ready to go in and get his stuff, and somebody stopped him so they couldn't go in there. And I had a TV business where I sold TVs, and if I had that to do over again, I wouldn't have done that. And that's one thing that I would change.
What or who had a major influence in your life?
Well, I think, of course, Grandpa, Paul, and my church, and God, and Jesus, and that has influenced how I've lived my life, and influenced the blessings that I've had. And
Definitely.
I appreciate, as I said, my family, and I've enjoyed them, and glad that everyone is well and pretty happy, I think.
What about you, Grandpa?
Well, if I would name the fellow teachers, it was in Elwood, Dan Racy was an influence on my life, and Earl Watson was an influence on my life, and Gary Linder was, they were influence on my life. And they were mostly Elwood teachers. answer.
The reasons I had to do this interview was because we read a short story called Dr. Heidegger's Experiment. And in this story, he found this fountain of youth and water, and he invited like some old friends to come in, and he gave it to them, and they turned young. So my question is, if you could live forever, would you?
Oh my, no, I don't think so, because unless I would be forever young, but if I would live forever and continue to get older, I don't think I would like that.
What if you were forever young, though?
Well, someday I'd like to go to heaven.
Oh, yeah.
And so if I lived forever here on earth, I'd never make that.
Yeah, that's true.
So I guess I wouldn't like to live forever.
What about you, Grandpa?
Would you like to live forever? If you were ever...
No, I think probably would have too many things wrong with me if I lived too long.
Well, thank you guys for letting me interview you.